got some more news I need to hit in this hour, and I want to get into the decadence cycle. We talk a lot about this, but I want people to realize what it really means. This is 100% in history. So we know history, we can avert it, or at least after the collapse, be positioned to fix society. Because you don't always come out of these cycles. It doesn't always restart. A lot of times you just stay in pure decadence and corruption and despotism. Castles, hire strong men, and then show up at your little town and say, you're going to give me your women, you're going to give me your young men to be my soldiers, and you're going to give me part of your food. Once they've got you to accept that, in every case, they then expand. Well, now you're not allowed to grow food. Only my cousin is. So the food prices go up. Now you've got to be my slave in my local factory. And so humans do the same thing. Kind of like an oyster grows an oyster shell, or a plant grows a certain way and turns towards the sun. They call it a tropism. It's ingrained. And so what happens is, here's the big secret about society. Good people just want to be married, have a good wife or husband, wonderful children. Once your belly's full, once you've got your little piece of land out in the sun, you just want to be safe. You just want to be left alone. And so governments will stage terror attacks. Governments will stage crises in the name of keeping you safe, in the name of taking care of you. And bad people who always want more power, who always want more control, who like to do sneaky things, who like to be backstabbing and manipulative, they always get into control. And then they start recruiting their buddies in. And then more ruthless people beneath them stab them in the back to get into power. And then more ruthless people beneath them stab them in the back to get into power. And then it's like a centrifugal purification system, like a race, a survival of the most evil, where there's always an acceleration into corruption. Now, those corrupt people are always there in society. And there's only been a few cases in history where a true system, an enlightened system, where the good people understand these truths, create a system of government to guard against big government, to guard against corruption. But you have to be informed. You have to be virtuous. You have to have an understanding. You have to guard the jewel of liberty as if it's the most precious thing in the world, as Thomas Jefferson said. You've got to be armed. An armed person is a free person. A slave is always disarmed. A prisoner in a prison is disarmed. It's so elementary. And it's a law that tyrants and corrupt groups always want more, and always try to take over. But they told the American people after World War II, we're the good guys. We can do no wrong. We can, do whatever we want. The government's going to grow. It's for your own good. And they've gotten over half the population in some form or fashion dependent on them. And now they're going into the full collapse system. But the globalists have written countless books and white papers. They know the natural collapse that tyranny causes, that then normally shakes out the tyranny, and people have a chance to restart. Sometimes it gets worse, sometimes it gets better. They openly say we're going to have a controlled collapse to make sure we stay on top and consolidate power and expand our power through that. But if you look at Eastern European rulers, Western European rulers, Mesoamerican tribes, if you look at Asian rulers, in any period of history going back 6,000 plus years, in every single case of recorded history, countries, nations, nation-states, empires always go bad. And there's always denial about it. Because by the time you've gone from liberty and freedom that creates incredible wealth, then the next generation stops taking it as serious, starts becoming decadent, corrupt people move into positions of power. They set precedents to get away with more and more corruption. They recruit more of their people, set new precedents, until finally it's just accepted that the government and ruling corporate class can do whatever they want. And if we look at the psychology, I talk a lot about Hitler, Stalin, Mao, Pol Pot, killing tens of millions, slaughtering, murdering for no reason. Even when people were submitting to Lenin, the NKVD would come back to him, the internal secret police, and say, all right, we've killed half of this town. We've done all this. And they would say, kill more. Well, who do we kill? Kill randomly. Terrorize them. I want more blood. It's really just a sicko. See, people like Ted Bundy, who are really smart, become governors. They become Fox News hosts, CNN hosts. They become Homeland Security deputies because now they can get away with their evil. They can make everything they're doing secret, government becoming more secret, corporations becoming more secret, while they write unconstitutional laws to make everything we do public. So they have that advantage of intelligence, of armaments, of propaganda, of resources. And so you look at every culture. You might get a strong king who, won through war and whatever, and who wanted to build up his people, and you'd have a cycle of the philosopher king sometimes, and milk and honey. But then their kid gets in. They're corrupt and decadent. Then their kid gets in, even worse, and their cousin kills them. This person's, a schizophrenic lunatic. And they just go hog wild nuts. We have now reached that hog wild nuts area. I mean, go back 4,000 years ago in the Mayan kingdom in Central America and Southern North America. They might do, out of a city of tens of thousands of people, a handful of sacrifices a year. And that was the priest class training people, give me something that's really worth something to you. Show you're under my mind control. Well, if you'll give them your kids to have their heart cut out, you're under mind control. You fast forward 1,000 years to where they were sacrificing so much of their population was going down. They had killed off all the other tribes around them. Because for elites, it's not enough to have 20 mistresses. What's taboo? Strangling a child after you torture them. What's taboo? Burning down a city for fun. What's taboo? Crucifying 5,000 people because you feel like it. Roman legions. And then they start competing with each other. Then they have cultures of extremism where the leaders have got to be more ruthless than their underlings or they'll lose the respect of their psychopathic servants. That's how the psychopath psychology works. Then they begin brainwashing the general public to be like them so they're accepted of it. They start having gladiatorial games with people killing each other. So you'll cheer your neighbor being killed this week and nobody will stand up for you when you're being killed a month later. So they've taken all of this, the globalists understand it, and they've institutionalized it. And you've got the British and Dutch royalty and the Rothschild royalty, for any lack of a better term, and the Asian corrupt elites and the Hispanic corrupt elites. All of them are the same. They are birds of a feather flying together. They enjoy what they're doing. And so to them, it's beautiful. Death and destruction. Have you seen the most popular art? It's not Monet's, it's not Van Gogh's, it's not Leonardo da Vinci, it's not famous Dutch painters. No, it's now $25 million for a skull with maggots coming out of it. It's $10 million for a baby, with disemboweled in a tank of formaldehyde. It's when you look at Christie's auctions, the Wall Street, the elites, Schwarzenegger. I've seen stuff he's purchased. I mean, it is dead children covered in maggots. Their favorite thing is dead children covered with maggots. Or Schwarzenegger, one of his favorite artists, there's photos of him online going to Germany to see the displays, is like dead babies in Nazi uniforms. I mean, folks, because they've had it all, and they got into darkness, and it wasn't enough. The studies show it's the same with porn. You're 15 years old looking at Playboy, you're shocked and amazed by it. Now you look at it, it does nothing for you. And so what it does is it sears the nerve endings, basically. It turns it into where you're like just a zombie. So they're artificially turning us in to biological android facsimiles of their psychopathic system. And you've got all the elites interbreeding genetically, passing on the psychopathic traits. Stay with us. Flesh's it out for people just a little bit historically. Why does every tyranny start huge wars and start slaughtering people for no reason? Why do their armies dress in black? Why do they rape and kill women? Because they recruit evil people in, and then they can never get enough evil people, so they start selling torture is virtuous. Jack Bauer is a hero. They start selling you that secret arrest is good, that cutting corners is good. And that's to get good people who they see as weak-minded to accept the wicked paradigm as something that's good. And there's no doubt that we're going into the worst of tyrannies. There is no doubt that the corruption is even worse than I could even imagine. Every day they scale new heights or depths of depravity. And none of us are safe. And we better understand that and get that through our head. And if you are a person who loves liberty and truth, and if you're someone who can see through all this and understand what's going on, I mean, you don't have to see through it now. It's out in the open. Then you better do everything you can in small ways every day to alert people to what's happening and to stand up to corruption. Because they've tried to break our will, break our back, where we just kind of, yeah, I know it's corrupt. I'm done. Just leave me alone. You can't do that. You've got to face these bullies down. You've got to call them out for what they are. They think we're so weak. They're all over the news saying, yes, we want to kill most people. Yes, we want to kill babies. Yes, we want to cut your energy off. Yes, we want to destroy your industry. I mean, they actually say this and then say they're good. See, first they teach us there's no right and wrong. Oh, don't criticize the Aztec culture. You know, every culture is different. Oh, really? Was the Nazi culture good? Obviously, no. They take your capacity away, or at least try to. They try to put it into suspended animation where you can't make decisions about what's good or bad. And then they start telling you what's good. See, you're not allowed to have a view. They've got a view, and they're going to cram it down your throat in an arrogant, over-the-top way. They act like everything they're doing is good when it's obviously bad. It's time to get in their face and let these scum know we're not backing down. Dale in Indiana, who's a farmer, go ahead.
Yes, Alex, long-time listener, first-time